Elon, I don't know why you want to dog on Apple so much if you take so many of their ideas, because over the weekend, it's been kind of a confusing mess of what's included with Tesla deliveries now, because it was first spotted on Tesla's website. The mobile connector used to be listed as included hardware and was recently updated to additional hardware that was going to cost between $275 in the US or $400 in Canada. And a lot of people thought this must be a mistake or this must be some kind of confusion. But Elon clarified, saying that the usage rates for the mobile connector were super low and it felt wasteful to include them with every vehicle. And this, of course, resulted in a huge uproar from the Tesla fan base. Even I think a lot of diehard fanboys that I'm used to seeing defend everything Elon says were now saying, okay, I think you've gone a little bit too far here. And I have to agree with a lot of these people, but I have two different arguments against this decision Tesla made. One that's backed up by data and one that's more about the execution strategy of this change, but let me just address the data first and foremost. Between Twitter polls, YouTube polls, and even Tesla Scope's data, we have not been able to find any statistics that claim that the usage of the mobile connector is super low. Any kind of poll with substantial votes of several hundred people have all alluded to they have used the mobile connector with their EV at some point, or some people saying they use it every single day, that's their go-to charge system. And sure, I'm well aware there are people out there that got the mobile connector but ended up not using it, but my question to those people is, why did you keep it? Why did you leave it in the frunk and not, I don't know, like sell it on Marketplace or find someone who's in need of it? Well, it's probably because you're lazy. Maybe you're just busy and you just don't want to take the time to find a good home or a good use for this mobile connector sitting in your car. Or the second option, which is far more likely, it's nice to have as a backup, especially when you're on a road trip and you may be in a place that's far away from a supercharger, or you're visiting a friend or family member and you're just like, hey, would you mind if I just top off my EV through your garage? The 110 outlet is not meant to be like the last and final plug that you charge your car with. It's mostly meant to combat that phantom draining and provide just a little bit of extra juice in a pinch. For the same reason, Tesla includes key cards with their vehicles. You know, those probably don't get used as much as just the car unlocking itself when it detects your phone, but the key card is nice to have in a pinch because sometimes the phone doesn't work. It's the same exact logic with including airbags in your Tesla. I'm sure the usage statistics of airbags are pretty low. Most airbags do not get used, but of course, when they do get used, you're incredibly grateful they're there. So I think there's a ton of people out there that probably don't use their mobile connector that frequently, either because they have a supercharger nearby or they've installed a wall charger, which can sustain a much faster charge rate. But as many people were pointing out online, the wall connector is far more expensive both to install and just overall upfront. It's like a $500 purchase, and the circuitry and additional equipment you need to install for your circuit breakers to accommodate for a wall charger is far more complex. That's why a very large percentage of people just charge their Tesla through the standard dryer outlet found in tons of American households, because you can get between 20 or 30 miles of range per hour just with that one outlet and using the included mobile connector. So based on the public outcry, all of the data we have researched on this, I have a hard time understanding why Elon claims that the mobile connector usage is very low, unless just everyone online's data is completely different from what Tesla is seeing, which we don't know what data Tesla is looking at. But okay, let's just assume he's right. Let's assume that it has incredibly low usage rates. Tesla finds this wasteful, or as some people have suggested, maybe because of supply chain shortages and the lockdowns going on in China right now, they're actually running low on Tesla mobile connectors, and whatever the supplier is for those connectors, they can't deliver enough of these components, so maybe Tesla's like, this is gonna slow down deliveries if we keep waiting on connectors, so let's just start delivering Teslas without them, because, again, I have a hard time believing it, but let's just assume the usage rates are low. Everybody buying a Tesla is just supercharging or installing wall connectors, and therefore all of these accessories are fairly useless. Well, if that is the case, it is incredibly confusing to the people who have Teslas on order, which because of the order backlog right now, there are a ton of people waiting to pick up their cars, and Elon nor Tesla has really confirmed or clarified whether or not this is applying to new orders or existing orders. Like, if you ordered a Tesla after April 15th, maybe you don't get a connector, but everyone who ordered one before April 15th, are they getting a connector? We can't get one answer from the Tesla support chats. Yes, we've asked them several times. Some of them, including mine, I reached out, I was like, is my Model 3 coming with a mobile connector? He said yes it is. So I was at first a little bit excited about that, but across the Tesla subreddits we've seen support agents claim, no, if you haven't taken delivery yet, then you're not getting a mobile connector with your car. Luckily, some more honest support agents have taken the liberty of just accepting that they don't know, and some of them have stated, we haven't gotten official confirmation from Tesla on whether or not we're still delivering the mobile connector. So once we have an official word on that, once we have some official documents that claim stop including the mobile connector with each delivery, then we'll tell you. But this is a particularly bad way of announcing this change and not really being clear on who's getting a connector and who's not, because unfortunately, it's been out of stock on Tesla's website. If you use the Wayback Machine, you'll know it's been out of stock for several months. So there's a bunch of people that don't follow Elon on Twitter, that don't necessarily read every single little detail or watch every single little YouTube video surrounding what hardware is and isn't included with your Tesla. But I'm sure there are tons of people taking delivery right now that are more everyday consumers, that are just average car buyers, that are thinking, well, so-and-so who I know got a charger with their car, or I watched some guy's YouTube video of his delivery day experience and his car came with a charger. So there's probably a bunch of everyday consumers out there assuming that they're going to get a charger with their car. So they either bought a NEMA adapter or are just assuming that the 110 outlet is going to cover their daily driving. But then if they catch headlines or they read the news, like there already have been many articles already written that say Tesla goes full Apple and will no longer include a connector with the car, and there's going to be a bunch of confused customers out there that are like, well, hold on a second, I'm taking delivery in a couple months, and if there's no connector with my car, then I guess I need to buy one. So you go on the website, and it turns out, oh, the connector's out of stock. So now I gotta find one from a used page, and because Tesla hasn't been clear about who is and isn't getting a connector, some people might spend $200, $300 on a mobile connector off of Marketplace or eBay or wherever they find it, and then find out that their car comes with one anyway. So now they have two, and they've just added more complexity to their charger experience from home. Now they gotta find a new buyer for it or something. And I know some people out there have said, this is why Tesla shouldn't have fired the PR department. This is why they need public relations. I really don't think it requires an entire department to just come forward and say, guys, what is the plan here? Like, even Elon, I think, could do this job very quickly on his next bathroom break. When he checks Twitter on his phone, just be like, yeah, all cars after this date, you won't get a connector. All cars before this date, you do get a connector. That would clarify a lot, and I think it would absolutely make more sense to make it an option at checkout that is perhaps more cheap. Like if you're buying a $50 or $60 or $80,000 vehicle, maybe you should give them a little bit of a discount on a home charger, because honestly that is better for the environment. It supports Tesla's mission statement. Expecting people to go to third-party destination chargers, which are going to be much, much slower and require additional driving, that's not super practical, nor is assuming everybody can supercharge, because in crowded, more urban environments, you're more likely to have a busy supercharger, and if you expect more and more of your new deliveries to charge there, there's going to be longer wait times. Not to mention supercharging is a little bit worse for the battery health, for the longevity of the car. And if you live in a rural area, you're likely further away from a supercharger. For me to drive out to my nearest supercharger, charge there up to 80 or 100%, and then drive back is going to take like an hour and a half to 2 hours for my lifestyle. So I'm a personal believer of supercharging is for road trips. Home charging should be most charging. That allows you to drive less because you don't have to go out of your way to charge up your car. It's going to be parked at home for extended periods anyway. So encouraging home charging and charging slower, which is better for the battery health, and especially with lithium iron phosphate, wanting to charge that vehicle to 100% at least a couple times a week is a good thing. And trying to charge that battery to 100% at superchargers is going to take forever. Not to mention supercharging is more expensive, and destination, level 2 chargers shouldn't necessarily be for everyday charging. I think that's more for supplemental when running errands and stuff. So essentially, I think Tesla should continue to encourage home charging. And personally, I'm not seeing any concrete data that claims that most people aren't using the mobile connector. I found quite the opposite. Most people claim they are, with a handful of people saying they aren't. But even in the instance that the usage of the mobile connector is super low or they're limited by their suppliers, I still absolutely think they should just include the connector for everyone that has already placed an order and stop including it for new orders and update the configurator. If you're gonna have an option in the configurator for your $12,000 full self-driving package, I'm sure the take rate on that one is also super low, and you can get it after delivery, so I'm not entirely sure why we even bother including it in the configurator, but home charging I think is far more prevalent and far more common and should absolutely be talked about when you purchase the vehicle, and it should be abundantly clear when you're ordering this car whether or not it comes with some kind of home charging option. And, you know, in that very same configurator, you can offer the wall charger, maybe at a discounted rate because someone's already spending a crap ton of money on this vehicle. Just say like, hey, we'll knock off $200 off the wall connector, or Elon said due to backlash, they're going to lower the price of the mobile connector and make it easier to order with the car. And I'm glad to see him taking the advice from the audience, but again, they've done nothing about that yet. Mobile connector, still out of stock, still listed at $275, and it's still not clear on the website if new or old orders are getting mobile connectors, and that's just causing a huge amount of confusion. So I know that Tesla has all this demand, and at this point they feel like they're actively discouraging people from ordering their car. And yes, the Tesla prices have never been higher, like they keep jumping up $2,000, $3,000 overnight, but at least that's being honest. Like, I get it if Tesla wants to secure profit margins and they want to price gouge customers because demand is too high right now. I can accept that because demand is so high and because the wait time is so long. Like, yeah, it's frustrating and it's upsetting when Tesla raises prices, but I understand the reasoning behind it. But I can at least appreciate the honesty of like, okay, if you put in your order, Tesla will honor that original pricing. And then when the price hikes come out, that's for all new orders. So it's upsetting and it's sad, but it's at least transparent. You know, you kind of know what you're getting. Whereas right now, I've ordered a Tesla over a month ago and I cannot get a straight answer from them. And I want to be able to charge my car via home charging. I live in a fairly rural area. I do not live by any superchargers, and I definitely don't live by any reasonably priced or fairly quick third-party chargers. So I want to know if I gotta go on Marketplace or eBay or something and buy a mobile connector, because Tesla right now won't even sell me one, and I absolutely need it. With my circuitry and the way my house is laid out, a wall connector is not going to work. A circuit breaker would not support it. It's also going to cost far more to install a wall charger, whereas we already have a NEMA 1450 outlet installed. It's been there for a while. I've already bought the adapter for it and I'm ready to use it. I was just expecting the mobile connector. Honesty and transparency is important. I know that the car buying process is just as frustrating for other cars out there, but I don't think that's an excuse for Tesla to be dishonest. You know, with demand as high as it is, they don't need to trick people. You know, if you were trying to convince people to buy your car and say like, yeah, it's a good deal, you should buy it now, then I could understand hiding some of the fees, like the tire fees, the registration fees, the destined dock fees. Like, hiding that until after you've put your deposit down would make more sense if you were trying to encourage more demand. But Tesla's doing the exact opposite right now. So if this is the case and there's way too many people buying your car and you're severely backlogged, then there's no point in hiding these things. There's no point in saying like, oh, by the way, you need to also buy this. Like, why try to save face? Just be honest. Like, okay, we can't include the charger anymore for all new deliveries after this date. So far, we haven't seen anyone online officially take delivery without a connector. Even people that have taken delivery in the last couple days have one. So that means we still have no clue when this new policy goes into effect, and that's quite frustrating. So I hope Tesla can address this quickly, because they're not selling any mobile connectors on the website, which means that people that do have them may start scalping them now because they know they're going to be high in demand and low in supply. So they used to be available for $250 or so. Now they might start going up in price if they know there's going to be a ton of Tesla deliveries that need these things quickly. Either way, I think there's way better ways Tesla could have handled this, and I love you, Elon. I appreciate what you're doing, but I don't think this was the right way of going about this announcement. Thank you to everyone supporting the channel over on Patreon, as well as just watching these videos. That helps out a ton. Take care and have a great day.